Let's take a look at what's going on with Dogecoin today, guys. All right, so not much has changed. We're still looking at the same thing that we were yesterday. Basically, we had a big, huge run up, and then we started having trouble, in my opinion, trying to break through this area, sitting at around what .448 approximately. We came up to that level and then got rejected and started pushing down. We've been having trouble breaking through this whole area, moving to the upside in general, in my opinion. So what I did is I took some profits and then I'm looking to buy back in, going to the downside. So what we do when we have a big, huge run like this is we use the Fibonacci retracement tool. Once we think that we start topping out, or it looks like we're gonna see a correction possibly, then we get the Fibonacci retracement tool right here, drag from the bottom of the run to the top of the run, something like that. That gives us levels to watch if it starts coming back down. I like watching the 38% level and the 50% level, but I'm going to go ahead and put limit orders on all of them going to the downside. The first one is sitting at .39176 right here. The next one is .33589, and then the next one is .29192. I'm not sure how far it's going to go down. It hasn't even hit this first one quite yet since I've been talking about these limit orders, but I still have my limit order set. The other thing I was kind of looking at is we have this bottom right here and this bottom right here. We came up, came down, found support, bounced on it, came down, found support again, bounced on it again. So the other bottom that I'm kind of looking at is this one right here where we have this bottom and this bottom. Gives me this trend line right here. Also lines up with that 38% Fibonacci retracement level sitting at around .33589 approximately. So yeah, I think the other main thing that I'm watching right now, let's go to we're on the 4-hour time frame with Dogecoin right now. We have resistance, giving me this trend line going to the downside. If we can break this trend line going up, then I could start getting more bullish and less confident on these targets going to the downside. Until we do break this trend line going to the upside though, then I'm going to continue to look at these targets going down. Yeah. So that's basically what I'm looking at on Dogecoin. The Fibonacci retracement levels. Let's see if we can get a retracement going to the downside now. Let's see, what else do we have to look at? Oh, I wanted to show you something because I didn't talk about this in yesterday's video, is the 9 moving average on the daily time frame. I'm on the daily time frame right now. Let's go ahead and delete that line that we were just talking about, but we'll still be looking at that, but let's delete it for now and focus on the 9 moving average. Okay, so we have the 9 moving average, this blue line right here, something like this. Whoops. So we're basically testing that blue line as support right now. Right here, we actually broke below the daily 9 moving average, and we're under it for a couple days. Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit. When we break above the 9 moving average and we're on top of the 9 moving average, then that's a good sign because then we can use it as support. It comes down, touches it, and then bounces and pushes us to the upside. It acts as support. When we break below it, sometimes, like not in this area right here, but a lot of times when we break below it, it can start acting as resistance where we're coming to it, have trouble, and it'll push us down. Right here, we didn't quite stay under it. We broke back above it, and now we're above it. The only thing though, we have been testing the 9 moving average all in this area right here. We are testing the support. So it's possible that the more we test it, the more likely we're going to break through it. Right here, let's see. Okay, so the last day or two, like yesterday, we actually broke through it. Again, let me zoom in for you because you could probably see better. Let's see, something like this. Okay, so we have the 9 moving average right here, something like this. Basically yesterday we broke below it for a second and we're able to stay above it, which actually is a good sign. The fact that we are still above this 9 moving average, that we stayed above it yesterday and the day before and the day before that, and we are still above it right now, is technically a good sign. But we are, like I was just saying, we are really testing that line right now. If we break this going to the downside, then I think we're gonna finally see a bigger red candle, maybe push us all the way down here. That's what I'm kind of thinking, anyways. Because usually when we break the 9 moving average, either going to the downside or going to the upside, like when we break through it going up, we either get big candles going up or we get big candles going down when we break through that moving average going either up or down. Right now we're testing it. We've been really testing it pretty much all in this area. Right here we broke below it. We're able to stay below it, pop back above it. Now we're kind of testing it as support again. Let's see if we break through it. Like I was just saying, I think if we do break through it, that's going to be another sign or something to give me more confidence that we are going to be heading to these levels down here. These limit orders, these orange lines are my limit orders where I have set. So once it comes down, touches that price, it'll automatically buy more Dogecoin for me. So I'm hoping that it can come down. I mean, I kind of want it to slow down so I can get back in, because I did take profits. I do want a dollar cost average back in, and I wouldn't mind staying in this little area for a while to start accumulating another position. That's what I'm kind of thinking anyways. If it starts breaking like tops, something like that, if it starts breaking through like these tops right here, any of these lines that I just drew, then I'm going to be a little less confident on these targets going to the downside. The other thing too is if we broke out of this Fibonacci retracement box, then I would be way less confident on hitting these limit orders. So we'll kind of see if I'm right or not, but right now that's what I'm thinking, is that we had a big huge run. I think it's time that we need to cool off. Maybe we'll get a little correction and then be able to move back to the upside. We're still up pretty big. So yeah, a little correction, even if we came down to the 50%, that would still be above the previous high right here. I think, in my opinion, as long as we can stay above this previous high, which kind of lines up with the 61% sitting at around 0.248. If we could stay above there, like let's say we even came back down all the way back down to 0.248 and then we started to bounce, I think that would still be good, because we're staying above that previous top. And like I've talked about before, once we break these previous, so we have resistances, right? We had this resistance right here. Once we break above them, a lot of times when we come back down, they'll act as support. Let's see if that happens in that case. I'm not sure how far it's going to go down. Like I was just saying, I have my limit order sets, but I've been kind of like worried that I did sell too early and it's going to just start mooning right now and just start going nuts. I also, to hedge my bets, I did put in a position right here. I have a position here on Robinhood and on Coinbase, just in case, like a smaller position, and then I'm waiting to buy back more going to the downside, hopefully, if we can continue to move down. That's just what I'm looking at, though. Let me see what else we got. Let's take a look at Dogecoin and Bitcoin. This is pretty much, okay, so if this chart is going up, I'm looking at Dogecoin and Bitcoin right now. If this chart is going up, it's good for Dogecoin. If this chart is going down, it's good for Bitcoin. So we want to like look at this chart, and I got these. Okay, so sorry. We watch this chart because we watch the resistances, we watch the supports. We also, so once we break resistances going to the upside, then we could get more bullish on Dogecoin. If it starts breaking it to the downside, then we could be less confident on Dogecoin and more confident on Bitcoin. If this starts pushing to the downside, then we'll have to start looking at Bitcoin more. And in general, it's been like moving up pretty good compared to Bitcoin. Right now, we're kind of going sideways compared to Bitcoin, and we are still technically trending up. We have support, giving us this uptrend going up. If we break this going to the downside, then that'll be it'll be a more of a bearish argument for Dogecoin. if we break this one going down. But right now we are still technically trending up, so that technically is a good sign for Dogecoin. I think if we break, let's see, let's go to the daily time frame, because like I was saying, these white lines are previous resistances. So we have resistance right here, back in the day, resistance right here. That's where I'm getting these white lines from, something like that. We had resistance. So basically, when we break these resistances, then we can get more confident on the Dogecoin price. And ever since we broke this one down here, we've been pretty much flying. So yeah, the thing that I was going to say though is we have resistance right here. And let's go ahead and delete these real quick. We'll put up another white line, something like that. Let's put a horizontal line instead of these ones that are kind of crooked. Something like that. Let's go ahead and draw that and do white. Okay, so this next one, or this one that I'm looking at that I just placed, pretty much lines up where we're having trouble with right now. So like I was saying, it was resistance in the past. It looks like it's resistance right now as well. We're having trouble right at that line. So if we could break through this little resistance that we've had, like this little resistance zone that we've been looking at, or that we've been getting trouble on, then I think the next push to the upside is going to be pretty huge, because there's not a lot of resistance in this area. It's just a big, huge drop to the downside. I think if we could break out of this area, push going to the upside, then this whole area might be a big, huge, nice run for Dogecoin. And like I was saying, on this chart, if we're breaking resistances, then that's going to be a good thing for Dogecoin. And like I also said, if it's going down, it's good for Bitcoin. If it's going up, then it's good for Dogecoin. And that's what we want. If we're interested in Dogecoin, then we want this chart to be moving to the upside, and that is good signs for Dogecoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin's still in this little triangle pattern that I've been looking at. Let's see. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. We had a big run on Dogecoin, and it looks like it's getting consolidation right now. Let's see if it breaks to the upside or if it breaks to the downside. I'm watching. We have resistance, support, giving me this resistance line and this support line. I think we're basically waiting for a breakout on Dogecoin right now. If it breaks to the downside, then I'll start looking at the Fibonacci retracement levels, similarly like we are on Dogecoin. If it breaks to the upside, then we can continue to be confident on that $120,000 target that we've been looking at, because if we go to the daily time frame and zoom out a little bit, we have a cup and handle pattern. This cup handle pattern, once we break the handle pattern going to the upside, we drag from the top to the bottom of the cup, something like this. Let's go ahead and do that. Drag that to the breakout. So we drag from the top to the bottom of that cup. Then we're going to drag this to the breakout where we broke out of this channel pattern. We have this channel right here bouncing in between those two trend lines. Once we break that, going to the upside, then we have a target of around 120,000. And that's what we've been looking at for the past couple weeks. And we're really close. We're at 94,000. We came all the way up to almost 100,000. I don't think we quite hit 100, but we were really close to that 120 target, and we still are. So let's see if we can get the next leg up and push to the upside. The other thing I was kind of looking at is this almost looks like a flag pattern where we had a pull and then we have consolidation. If we could break to the upside, then continuation pattern. Same thing. Actually, I don't think I talked about a flag pattern on this video yet. But when we have flag patterns, we could drag from the bottom of the pole to the top of the pole, maybe something like that. Then drag that to the breakout if we could break out that resistance. And then that also gives us that target of around $120,000. So if we could break to the upside, then we can, like I said, we'll be also looking at this flag pattern target right here. And then we also have, if we zoom out, this cup and handle pattern. We already broke out going to the upside on that one. So yeah, we just need to continue this momentum, push to the upside, break this resistance, and then maybe we can have a shot at going to 120,000, what we've been looking at and talking about on this channel for a while now. There's another couple ones that I've been looking at. Let's take a look at Litecoin real quick. I made a video about this probably like in April, or I don't remember, but I had a position right here at $104. I just thought it was a pretty good price a long time ago. I thought it was going to pop back, like way back when. I think it was was it April, March? Let's see, when is this? July 23, February, March. Yeah, it must have been somewhere in March. I think it was probably in this area right here where I put in a position. I thought we were going to be breaking out of this little wedge pattern, or not wedge pattern, this little channel pattern. Let me zoom out and show you what I'm looking at on Litecoin. Because it is performing right now. I'm finally up on this trade. So we have resistance, giving me this trend line right here. Then we have support, giving me this bottom trend line, something like that. What I'm kind of thinking, and in general, okay, so let's see. We had, with Litecoin, it had a big, huge run, and then we dropped all the way down. We were staying down here for a while. I've been talking about like dead cat bounces too on this channel lately. So we could do, another thing we can do if we're looking for like a dead cat bounce is we could get the Fibonacci retracement tool. I already have it drawn out, but you get the Fibonacci retracement tool. You drag from the top of that, like the top, and then we drag it to the bottoms over here to this. So we get the top and then we get the bottom like that, and then that's where we drag that Fibonacci retracement tool from. But this gives us also levels to watch, kind of like how we were on going to the downside. This one pushed down and now it's pushing up, so we might get a retracement going up. And same thing with this chart. I like watching the 38% level and the 50% level. 50% level is a very reasonable target. So the 50% level is all the way up at 229, 227 approximately. Right now we're at 131. I put in a position at $104 just because, like I was saying, we went up so high. We've been up to around 413. I remember back in the day, like 300 was like a pretty solid target. Let's see, where is 300? Maybe it's like right here or something. We came up, hit that, and then we went even further. So I was around in, I think, both of these times. But so when I saw it come down to 100, where we were down to 100 and we were kind of testing this resistance over here, I thought we were going to break through and maybe come up to like that 50% level, 227 possibly. Or maybe we can start running again as long as we could break out of this little zone right here. We didn't do that back in March. We kind of went down even further, came back down and tested this bottom down here. But now it looks like we finally did break through that resistance, and now we have a better shot of coming up to like the 50%, 38%, something like that. And the other thing that I was looking at, let's go ahead and delete some of these because I don't know exactly where these came from. I have a feeling I do, but let's go ahead and delete them, and then we'll just do some targeting from scratch. Let's go ahead and delete all this stuff, delete this stuff. Okay, so like I was saying, we have this resistance and then we have this support, basically a channel pattern, a sideways channel pattern going sideways. What we could do is drag from the top of the channel to the bottom of the channel, something like that. Drag this to the breakout where we broke that resistance. And then that gives us a target of around $179. It also lines up with that 38% level. So that's the first one that I'm looking at, but I wouldn't also be surprised if we went up to 50%. And I'm just going to continue to watch this chart and see how it performs, but it does look like it's performing pretty decent right now. Let's see if we continue to push to the upside. Let's see if we can hit 183 or possibly even 227. And let's see if it stops there though. But Litecoin is running pretty good. I made a video about this a long time ago. I thought we were going to start moving to the upside, but it just took a while for it to actually start performing. Looks like we're actually looks like this position is actually doing pretty decent right now. It only took like a year or whatever, but it's all good. So yeah, that's basically what I'm looking at. I think I just got like 2 Litecoin right here. It was like $200 or something like that. So let's see what happens. Not too hardcore, but just a nice, decent little position. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at Litecoin, and the target that I'm looking at. Like I said, I'm looking at a target next is around $179. Let's see if we can continue to move up from where we are right now to the next target is around 37%. Right now this trade is up around 26%. It only took about a year, but if you think about it, like 26% in a year, that's not too bad, really. I mean, I guess that's like kind of average S&P kind of thing, but yeah, it's still, that's not bad. I mean, that's pretty good. So let's see how this continues to perform. But that's one of the bigger ones that I'm looking at. I threw a little bit of money in SHIB the other day just because it was running, but it looks like right when I put a little small position, like a $20 position in, it started to push down. This green line is where I put that position in, and right after I put that position in, it started to go down. So let's see what happens on that. I don't really love SHIB, but I was just kind of playing with it and seeing if I also have positions up here, like $10 positions on SHIB, and then it completely crashed. Got a nice little pump to the upside, came down. I think this is also like whatchamacallit money, like house money, all these previous positions, because I had traded it in the past over here, I think. So yeah, but this is what I'm looking at on SHIB. So we have support giving me this uptrend going up like this. As long as we can stay on this uptrend, then maybe we can continue to push to the upside. If we break it going to the downside, then my position might be in a trouble. Not trouble, but you know what I mean. We might have to wait a little longer. It's not a big position like I was just saying, but you know, right after I did that, I thought it was going to go up because we have like this little like flag pattern. We had a run up consolidation. We broke that going to the upside. What I was doing is targeting from the top to the bottom of that flagpole, dragging this to the breakout, and then that gives me a target of around .0000. What is it? It ends basically in 3813, somewhere around there. So I thought that we did still have some room to go up, maybe like 20% but let's see what happens. Like I said, I still think, I mean, technically we are still in an uptrend. Like I said, we have support giving me this uptrend. We still haven't broken that uptrend going to the downside yet. So yeah, I don't know. It's all good. I don't even really care. I just kind of want to try to take advantage of this move. But like I said, right as soon as I put in that position, it started going down. Let's say if we can hold support on this trend line and push up, I'll be probably looking at this area though to take profits. That's what I'm kind of thinking, just like a quick in and out. Let's see if that works out like that though. Cardano's doing really good too. Cardano's at $1.25. I was thinking that it might be getting a retracement in this little area right here, like we might have topped out, but we broke this top right here, sitting at, what is it, $1.15 approximately. Once we broke through that, then I don't know about this retracement. We could probably delete this now. Let's go ahead and delete this retracement chart, because technically we're still in an uptrend and we haven't really, it doesn't look like we're getting really a correction. It looks like we're still trending up. And if that happened with Dogecoin, like how I had, okay, so I had the Fibonacci retracement tool. We drug from the bottom to the top, something like this. The top was right here, broke to the downside, got support and pushed up. Like what I was going to say is on Dogecoin, how we have this Fibonacci retracement chart set up, or these levels. If we break out of that top, then we could pretty much, and like I said on Dogecoin, if we break this top, then I'm going to be less confident on us going to the downside and retracing. But on this chart, we actually broke that top right here. Let's see, we broke the top right here. Looks like we're still moving up and not retracing. Cardano looks like it's still doing phenomenal. It's at $1.25 right now. Let's see how high it can go. I think the other thing we could probably do on this chart, let's go to a different chart. This one's probably the Coinbase one where I have all my stuff set up. Let me go ahead and I'm on Binance now. Let's go ahead and delete everything. Let's do the dead cat bounce thing like we did with Litecoin. Okay, so we have a big huge run up, and then we came down, big dump, and then we stayed down here for a long time. So what we could do, same with what we did on Litecoin, we get the Fibonacci retracement tool. Like let's say we're looking for a dead cat bounce. So the price went super down. We're looking for a dead cat bounce to the upside. Maybe it'll retrace 50% of the way, or maybe even more. But we get the Fibonacci retracement tool. We drag from the top of the run to the bottom of the run, something like that. So we're looking at this top, and then we're looking at this bottom down here, and that's where we drag our levels to, or that's where we get the Fibonacci retracement tool, drag from the bottom to the top. That gives us these levels. So basically, we're already hitting that 38% level right here. And like I was saying on the last one, the 50% and the 38% are very reasonable targets. The 50% is sitting at around, what is it? $1.66.9, 1.6695 approximately. That would be the next place that I'd be looking at if we could break this 38% level right here. It looks like we're having a little bit of trouble right here. I keep on saying that. $1.32 approximately. If we could break through that, then the next spot that I'd be looking at is the next Fibonacci retracement level going to the upside, which is sitting at around $1.67. Excuse me. So yeah, like I was saying, when we have a big breakdown and then we get a bounce to the upside, 50% is very reasonable, and it looks like we're getting super close to that. If another thing too, if the more we break these going to the upside, if we can keep on breaking them, then I'll look at the next one going to the upside until we start breaking to the downside. Like I was saying, we're basically on a trend, something like this, where we're getting support on this line right here. Let's go ahead and move around, zoom in. We have support. Basically, this line is just giving us support, and as long as we can stay on this line, then I'll be looking at those targets pushing to the upside. If we break this trend line going to the downside, then that's when we can start getting a little less confident, a little less bullish. But for now, it's breaking the tops, going to the upside. It's staying on the trend line, pushing up. It's testing the Fibonacci retracement level right here. When we're testing it, going to the testing it, trying to push up, then that's a good sign. Better than us testing this support line, trying to go down like we are on Dogecoin. Right here, we are testing going to the upside though. Let's see if we can break through that 38% and come up to the 50%, and let's see if it even stops there. Like I said, I'm watching this trend line. If we break that going to the downside, then that'll be a signal that it might be changing direction, but we are still on that uptrend, and we'll have to continue to look at that. But those are some of the things that I'm looking at. Actually, let's take a look at polka dot real quick, because this is another one that's been doing really good. And this chart's doing good, but I want to look at the polka dot to Bitcoin chart, because that one's the interesting one. Okay, so let's do some technical analysis on this real quick. We have resistance right here, we have support, basically a channel pattern. We haven't even broken out of this channel pattern yet. We also had resistance, giving me this downtrend, something like this. Actually, probably more something like this. It seems like this is more of an average, where we had resistance. These spots seem to line up better, or this line seems to make more sense. Basically, we had resistance. We broke that resistance going to the upside. Once we did that, that's when we started pushing up pushing up kind of hardcore. I keep on moving that around. Let me see. Okay, something like this. Okay, so once we broke that resistance, we started pushing up. I'm looking at support, uptrend. As long as we can stay on this uptrend going to the upside, maybe we can continue to head up and break this other resistance that we're looking at. Let's see. Okay, so there's a couple of things let's talk about this resistance right here, and then we'll talk about the dead cat bounce Fibonacci retracement levels that we just talked about on the other charts. Okay, so we have resistance, giving me this trend line right here. Support, giving me this trend line right here. I think if we continue to move up on this trend line, bounce on it, break through that resistance, then we're going to have a nice little target, a nice little channel pattern to target. So what we could do, if we break this line right here, if we can continue to move up and break that line going to the upside, what I'm thinking is dragging from the top to the bottom of this channel, something like this, drag this to the breakout, and then I'd be looking at a target of around $20.18 approximately. We haven't broken that yet. It's possible that we come up here, have trouble, and get rejected and break to the downside. But that's a bullish scenario. That's kind of like a bullish hypothetical thing that might happen. Sorry, let me delete this. I'm just thinking that if we can continue to move up and we could break through this resistance right here, if we could break through this resistance, then that's where we'll really see a big jump up, maybe to around $20.22 approximately. I have a little, I think I put in like $100 at this yellow line right here, like probably, I'm guessing probably in this area over here. Let's see, what does this look like? December 23, probably more in this area right here when we started moving up. I think when we basically, I'm just kind of trying to retrack when I did put in this little yellow line right here, this position. It was back in like March, or it was a while back when I put in that around the same time when I put in that Litecoin position. But I have a feeling it was this downtrend. We broke that downtrend going to the upside, and I think that's when I put in that position. It moved up, but it looks like it had trouble, came down, pushed down. Looks like we're trending back to the upside. What I want to see us do, though, like I was just talking about, I want to see us break that resistance and push to the upside. Let's talk about the Fibonacci retracement chart in reverse, though, or the dead cat bounce targets that we could be potentially looking at as well. So we had, and these are some of my other positions that I had actually bought the top and bought some of this area over here back in the day, back in, what is this, 2021. And I've been staking Polkadot for a while. So we had a huge run up. We had a big run up, and then we came down, and we're down for a long time. Now we're looking for a dead cat bounce, basically, or that's what we're kind of targeting. So let's see if we can go to a different chart actually, because this one's kind of a mess. Let's go to Binance or something like that. Let's go to Binance to Tether. Okay, or Binance, but the Tether chart. Let's go ahead and delete this, and let me just show you what I'm looking at. Okay, so we're going to do that dead cat bounce thing. Like I was saying, we get the Fibonacci retracement tool. We get from the top of the run, and then we drag to the bottom of the most recent action. So we have the top, and then we have the bottom. Looking for a dead cat bounce. Like I've been talking about, I like the 38% level and the 50% level. The 50% level is sitting all the way at $29.40 approximately. The 38% level is sitting at $23.420 approximately. So these could be potential targets if we could break this resistance right here. If we could break that going up, I'll be looking at the Fibonacci retracement levels going to the upside. And like I was saying, 50% is very reasonable, 38% as well. What you could do technically is put in, two positions right here, sell one at this one and sell one at this one if you wanted to. I don't know how far it's, I'm not guaranteeing that Polkadot's going to go all the way up, but that's what I'm hoping for. And even if we just get 50% of the way where we used to be, then that's still going to be a nice move from where we are right now. From where we are right now to the 50% level is 193%. Let's see if it can continue to move up. Like I said, I put in a position. Let me go back to the other Polkadot chart. I put in a position down here at around $7.25. Let's see if it can continue to push up. I also have other positions in these other spots right here where these other lines are. But so that's another reason why I want $100 cost average down here, because they're super cheap prices compared to like $50, $40, whatever. We're still at $10. So yeah, I think there's some potential in Polkadot, in my opinion. I think that about does it though. Cardano, Polkadot, and Litecoin are the ones that I've been really looking at lately, since Dogecoin is kind of, I don't know, it looks like it's cooling off. It looks like it's having trouble pushing to the upside. Like I was saying on Cardano came up and then came down and then pushed through the upside and then continued to move up. It seems like right here we came down, pushed up, had trouble, came down, pushed up, had trouble. Looks like we're kind of pushing down again. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame on this chart again. I was also looking at this chart, or this trend line. We have support. Let's see, let's do something like this. Some line maybe like this. You could also argue maybe something like this, where we use the bodies of it. Technically, we're still kind of on this uptrend as well, where we have support, pushing to the upside. We haven't broken that one going to the downside yet. I think if we do break this one going down, then that'll give me much more confidence on these targets going to the downside. But let's see what happens. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just going to completely turn around right now and start pushing up, break through the top, and then just start going nuts. But these are kind of some of the things that I'm looking at. That's basically what I'm looking at. We looked at Dogecoin and Bitcoin, looked at Bitcoin, looked at Litecoin, Polkadot, Cardano. If you're new to trading, go to tradingview.com, sign up for an account, set up your watch list, and then you can watch these percentages. I like doing that because then we can kind of, so like Cardano today is like the only thing that's performing. It's up like around 4%. We can take a look at that. Boom, we already did look at that, but that's basically what I'm saying though. You can look at these percentages and see what's running, see what we have. Oh, one more thing. I want us to look at Cardano to Bitcoin. Let me show you this real quick before we go, because this was also huge compared like on the, just something like a signal. And like I was talking about on Dogecoin, this is the Cardano or ADA chart compared to Bitcoin. If this chart is going down, it's good for Bitcoin. You'd rather be in Bitcoin than Cardano. If it's going up, then you want to be in Cardano as opposed to Bitcoin. But check out what kind of pattern we have here. One of my favorite patterns, actually probably my favorite pattern, is the falling wedge pattern. Let's go ahead and delete these. We've already moved on past those trend lines. We're basically looking at resistance, support. If you follow my channel, we've been looking at Dogecoin falling wedge like almost all year. Basically, channel pattern going to the downside, lower highs, lower lows. Basically in a channel pattern that gets tighter and tighter and tighter. Once we break that resistance, then that's a bullish signal. So what we could do then, once we break that resistance, is we could start targeting the previous resistances, which would be right here. Previous resistance, came up, got resistance right here, and then resistance right here. Where we came up, got resistance right there, and then that started pushing to us to the downside right there. So those are the next two targets on this chart. We have one right here. Let's go ahead and draw some horizontal lines like this. Let's see, horizontal line. I just wanted to show you guys this because this is still in play. Huge target, huge pattern, huge targets, it looks like. So we have a falling wedge pattern. Here are the next resistances on the way to the upside. Like I said, as long as this chart's moving up, it's good for Cardano, and you want to be in Cardano as opposed to Bitcoin. If we could break that resistance going up, it's just going to be the same thing. It's just going to continue to be good for Cardano. This is a good trading pattern right here. Breaking to the upside looks great. Looks like we still have some room to go to that first target. If we could break through that one, maybe it'll give us some trouble. May have to come down. But if we could break through this one in general, this first white line, then that next target could be also a possibility. And from here to there is still some big potential in my opinion. Let's see if we drag from right here, or let's measure, should I say, from where we're at right now to the next resistance level. That's around 90%. So let's see how far Cardano can go. Let's see how far it can push to the uptrend. I really liked the way this pattern though looked. That's one of the main things that I wanted to look at on Cardano, and I almost forgot about it. But it does look really good compared to Bitcoin right now. We broke that resistance. Ever since we broke that resistance, look at these green candles. Huge green candles pushing us to the upside. Let's see if we can continue this momentum. I think the other thing we could do is we have support, where we're basically on a trend line, something like this. If we break this trend line going to the downside, then we could get a little less confident on us continuing to push up. But right now we are getting support, bouncing on this uptrend, pushing us up. If we break it going to the downside, like I was saying, then we could be a little less confident on us continuing to move up. But if we could break these resistances pushing up, I think that's going to be just more, that's just going to even be better for Cardano. I think Cardano has some big potential still. But yeah, let's see what happens. Look at what happened when I thought SHIB had some more potential. Right after I put it in a position, it started to go down. But let's see. In my opinion, this chart, this pattern does look pretty good. Let's see if it continues to push up. I've been holding Cardano for a while. I've been staking that for a long time. I hadn't really been putting more in Cardano, but I mean, so I'm just kind of holding from what I have, and like I said, I've been staking it. So yeah, just kind of holding on to see where it goes. It has some big potential though, in my opinion. Like I was saying, it went all the way up to around $3.05. That was the previous high. Let's see how far it can go. Let's see if it can go back up here or go higher. We'll have to wait and see. But like I was saying on the Cardano Bitcoin chart, looks like there's still some potential, and looks like we still have some room to go up potentially. So that's basically what I'm looking at on Cardano. I just really wanted to bring that to you guys' attention and show you that if you guys are holding Cardano, it looks like it's been running pretty good, and it looks like it still has some potential. Dogecoin, on the other hand, I'm still kind of skeptical on it. I want to see us retrace, get a correction going to the downside, then maybe we can start moving back to the upside. Or even if we, like I was saying at the beginning, I wouldn't mind if we stayed in this little box right here for a while, so I can reaccumulate Dogecoin and reaccumulate another position. That's the name of the game for me right now with Dogecoin, is try to get back in at decent levels. Let's see if we can get some discounts on that. That was a long video. Hopefully you're still here. If you guys are liking these videos, hit subscribe so you can follow along. If you guys like this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you want to check out the last video, check it out right here. If you're new to trading or looking at charts, check out this playlist. It'll help get you started with TradingView. All right, if you guys like this video, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.